Welcome to Poco News, your weekly source for most things Brawl Stars esports. In today's video, I will be explaining the final update on ROSTERMANIA 2026, along with the result of the monthly qualifiers in all 4 regions. But before we get into that, I want to tell you that the map pool will be the same in all quarterfinals, all semifinals. NA. Firstly, for NA, we have that Elevate revealed the roster of Vegeta, OG, and Ducky. Repeating one player and hoping that Unk still got it, OG, and trusting that the fresh talent of Ducky has what it takes. We will see how they go. Also, Zara, Chino, and Avex are playing the qualifier together. And along with those two, I have 2 other roster org reveals. That being Holy Realm, which is David Rathwin. Rathwin is a very prominent Tier B player who has played in NA and gotten into a couple of monthly finals. And both David and Ducky are 2 new Mexican players. The roster is full Mexican. Then there's also BC Gaming NA. That is made of Alex, Sunny, and Optical. Alex and Sunny are American, and Optical is Canadian. Now on to monthly qualifiers. The teams that qualified through upper bracket were qualifiers. The teams that qualified through upper bracket were Tribe Gaming after beating BC Gaming NA 3-0, not dropping a set in the qualifier. Then STMN Esports, who beat Batic 3-1. Team Electros, who beat Elevate 3-1 to qualify. And lastly, KDS Esports, who beat Crow's Nest Esports 3-1 to qualify to the monthly final. As for the lower bracket teams, it was Batic Esports after beating an unknown team. Only Realm after beating BC Gaming NA. Crow's Nest Esports after beating Zeus second best Tholan. And Elevate, who beat MX Team to qualify. Because of the way the teams qualified for the first monthly final, the bracket will look like this. Supremacy League revealed who the qualified teams are, and I'd say that the only ones to note are Only Realm and Big Talents. Side note, very sad that second best lost in the first game and had to go through lower, and I'm especially sad that he didn't make it to monthly final. EMEA. For EMEA, I have 3 roster organization reveals and a challenge. OPE, who saw that Angel Boy and Guesty are top in the leaderboards and ranked, decided to challenge them to try and beat him and Nawi to be number 1 and number 2 in ranked this season. Angel Boy then responded in the tweet saying, "I'd rather win monthlies, but if there's something on the line, both of you buying the foot bundle and using it for the entire month." Wait, both of you already have it, lol. Accepting the challenge. And after accepting it, he made a quote tweet where he said, "Bro felt like embarrassing himself. Clown emoji. Challenge is on. Winner uses the opponent's org bundle for the entire month." And Ope added an additional rule, which is, they're not ready. We will see who the real grinders are. Of course, win trading is not allowed. Chat, are we cooking? I'd say that they are cooking. And then Noe said, "Jesus Christ, what a fucking idiot. I might need to lock in at this point, not gonna lie." And then Luki said, "At this point, do one more OP Brawl Star." And Noe responded, "At this point, and not gonna lie, far as fuck this, you're not gonna lie." OPE, after seeing Noe's tweet, said, "My bad, chat." Crying emoji. So yeah, that's the competition that's gonna happen between SK Gaming and Fut. I will keep you updated to see who wins. First off, Lucas, Nanox, and Gugu got signed to Skepsis Gaming. The French organization signed Gugu, a 2024 world finalist, along with Nanox, another French, and Lucas, a Spanish player who played in Coronas with Nanox last year. Navi revealed they will continue in Brawl Stars next year, and the roster will be Drage, Lana, and Jero. And then finally, Novo revealed that the roster will in fact be Enraged, Filippo, Terry, and Luk. As for monthly qualifiers, now that they are over, I can say the teams that qualified through Upper, which were Team Heretics, after beating Navi in a 3-0 fashion. Totem, who had a mostly free bracket, but almost lost in a 3-2 in the first round. They beat CMM to qualify 0 in a stomp. Humble 3-0'd Fut's roster to qualify and didn't drop a single set in the process. And SK Gaming beat Novo 3-0 to qualify. As for the lower bracket teams, they were the teams that lost in the grand finals of the upper bracket, meaning that CMM qualified, as well as Fut, who had to beat the Fut Academy roster to win. And Novo is, however, the one exception to the rule, as even though they reached the grand final in the upper bracket, when they went to the lower bracket, they lost versus Berlin International Gaming. 3-1. Navi beat Mandy's Candy, Simon, Ness, and mine in 3-2 to qualify for monthly finals. And here you have the bracket for EMEA. And because of the result in the monthly qualifiers, 2 players decided to retire, disbanding their teams. The players who decided to retire are Biso, who after his breakout season in 2025 decided to retire after not qualifying to the first monthly final with Rup and Joko, leaving Rup FA looking for a team. The other player who decided not to play next year is Rama, who after not qualifying to the monthly final has decided to retire. And finally, Philip, who was the coach of Kansas City Pioneers, the genius behind the Kids 0 and 11, and also the coach for Inner Circle, decided to take a step away from coaching Brawl Stars. Now moving on to South America, where before we get into the ROSTERMANIA update and the monthly qualifiers, I want to tell you that a bit of drama occurred in South America. What happened was that after the team switches, Christian moving to SK Kalalas and Motep moving to Eternal, Motep made a post which I read last week, but last week I only read the first part because it was the only part that I found relevant. Now I will read you the second part and the first part as well, but you can skip to the timestamp on screen if you don't want to hear it again. With the termination of the contract, I become free and can express myself. With the end of this team, I end up happy. You must be thinking, man, Motep, what kind of craziness is this? You're separating from Pekka, who is your friend of many years. You must be pretending or playing dumb. But on each team, you can be someone new. And I think that over time, my shine may have been getting dimmed. Because back in 21-23, I was usually the most standout player on the team, due to me being able to play with characters that made me become someone confident and special. I think that was my mistake, not caring about my own comfort and just accepting things for the team's sake. I hope everything works out for SKC because I am happy not to be just one more on the team. And if they felt comfortable replacing me, I am even happier, as that way I wouldn't be a burden or hindering someone else's dream. Finally, that's it. I think now having the freedom to play with the brawlers that make me happy and being able to be who I truly am, I became a better and more satisfied competitor. Deep down, thank you very much for the opportunity, SKC. I am looking forward to playing this season because I believe I have always been at my best. And now, with my shine not being dimmed, I can return to my throne which was taken. See you in the competition. And the reason the drama occurred was because Pikachu Games, the CEO of Eternal Brawl Stars, made a quote tweet of Motep's tweet saying, "All I have to say is he was mistaken throughout the past years." And in the replies, Dance, the coach of SK Kalala, said, "This is a translation, so keep that in mind. At the beginning of the year, RHC and I wanted to continue with Christian and Pekka. And Pekka literally spent hours and days begging us to go with Motep. No one has tried or given more for Motep than he has. Please, enough with indirect chaps and nonsense that don't make any sense and you don't even know anything about." And then Etinho in the replies says, "I'm proof of that. He told me everything drunk in the World's Party," reconfirming in a way what Dance was saying. Along with Dance, Pekka, in a now deleted response, said, "Excuse my profanity, you can't talk. You don't know fuck all and only know how to talk shit on Twitter. Congratulations, clown." 3 laughing emojis. I think you can get to your own conclusion on what Pekka was thinking while he wrote that. And now lastly, we have this post from RHC where he says, "Boa sorte, Motep," translating to "good luck, Motep." And then underneath, Gaubeur leaves a question mark, and then Dance says, "You're dazed, huh?" Dazed is another word for, like, surprised when you get hit with a baseball bat. And then, ha 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 ha, which is how you laugh in Spanish on the internet. And then Gaubeur responds with ka 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 ka, which is how you laugh in Brazilian. Basically, that was the end of the drama until Pekka posted a tweet saying, "Goofy's problem is that he thinks that he's Mickey." A semi-philosophical phrase which he dropped after the drama. So that's what happened in South America, which basically is going to spice up any matches that happen between Eternal and SK Kalalas, even more than they would have previously. Now to new orgs and surprise rosters of South America. For new orgs, we have one org that signed a team, that being Olimpo Squad, who signed Ice Crow, Brabao, and Golden. Now to monthly qualifiers, where what happened in monthly qualifiers was that a brief footnote before we get into monthly qualifiers is that Gallo Perro forgot to sign in to the day 2, and therefore they had to get to day 1, but they got their seating as if they went directly through day 2. So yeah, that's just that. And then the teams that went through upper were out after beating Soñadores 3-1, Gallo Perro, who beat Eternal 3-1, SK Calalas, who beat Nigem Segura 3-1, and Olimpo Squad, who beat New Heights Gaming 3-2. Then in the lower bracket, Eternal beat Zurita Gang 3-0, leaving Zurita Gang out of the monthly final, Soñadores had a birthday buff, because it was the birthday of one of their players. And because of that, they beat Not 36 and made it to the monthly final. New Heights Gaming beat VRX 3-0, and Nigem Segura beat Los Chicos FA. And here you have the bracket for the first monthly final in South America. Brawl Stars also revealed 1 day before monthly qualifiers that there was going to be Road to Brawl Cup South America West and how that was going to work. So I will very quickly explain it here. The format will be that there will be 3 open qualifiers from which 12 teams will advance to a group stage. There will be 12 teams seeded into 4 groups of 3 in a home and away round-robin format. Matches will be played over 4 days, and the first place team from each group advances. The 4 qualified teams will compete in a double elimination bracket, culminating in the grand final, where we'll crown the champion and determine who earns the Brawl Cup invitation, who takes a share of the $5,000 prize pool. Qualifiers are open, and here you can see a picture of the format. Schedule is open qualifiers 16th and 18th. Group stage is from the 23rd to the 26th of February, and grand finals are the 20th of February. It will be casted on PandaCast's channel and on Nako's channel. Asia Pacific. In Asia Pacific, we got the rulebook for Southeast and South Asia, along with the roster reveals of Zeta Division, which Zeta Division next year will be composed of Sitatambo, considered by many the best mechanical player, Suzuku, another great player, Batoman, who played with Reject last year, and then Mameshi as either their coach or content creator. It's still not clear to me. And the last time that both Mameshi and Sitatampo were on a team together, well, then Reject revealed that Levy is going to join their two players of Melty and Shu, and that will be their new roster. Frenzy revealed that their roster is Danshari, Toridesu, and Mira. And lastly, for the teams, we have WWL, which is a full Korean team, which is made up of Cookie, who played in Gen G last year, Nene, who is another young talented Korean player, and Minsun, who I've never heard about and I don't know who it is. Now to monthly qualifier. Monthly qualifier is over. The teams that went through upper bracket were Crazy Raccoon after beating Rival Esports in a 3-2. Zeta Division after beating WWL 3-0. Reject after beating Frenzy 3-2. And SK Kalalos, who defeated ABC, Achapi, IC, and Kenji. And then the lower bracket teams winners were WWL after beating Feasible Gaming's new roster 3-0, Rival, who won in another 3-2, and Effort Result, who beat Frenzy in a 3-1, leaving Frenzy outside of the first monthly final. Anyways, here is the bracket for East Asia. And because Asia Pacific is also Asia and Pacific, I have to talk about Southeast and South Asia that got revealed how they are going to get to Brawl Cup. And the way they're going to do that is South Asia and Southeast Asia will each host their own open qualifiers, and the top 2 teams from each qualifier, totaling 16 teams, will advance to the regional leagues. These 16 teams will be divided into 2 regional leagues, and they will compete in a group stage, single round robin format. The top 8 teams will earn a spot in the regional leagues, where they will compete in a double elimination format, with 6 teams advancing to the decider playoffs. In the first 2 days of the event, the 6 remaining teams will be narrowed down to 4 during an intense group stage. On the final day, representatives from South Asia and Southeast Asia will face off in a double elimination bracket to determine the tournament champion, who will receive an invitation to World Cup. You can watch it on Ready Set's channel, and the schedule is open qualifiers 19th till 22nd, regional league 27th 28th, regional league finals March 1st, and decider playoffs 7th and 8th. So that's it for this week's news. I will tell you next week who won the monthly final in EMEA, Southeast Asia. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed.